Yo, yo, yo. Okay. Sorry for being a little bit late there. I had some Wi-Fi issues. There is Scott's request. Go live with. Okay. Waiting for Scott Handcock. Come on, Scott. My Wi-Fi was being a bit weird, so hopefully Scott's is okay. Saying it's waiting for Scott. Scott. Shalom. Shalom, Beth Becker too. Good afternoon, Belgian girl. Scott's not coming in for some reason. Let me see. Bear. Okay, Scott says bear with. Okay. Scott might be going somewhere else with better Wi-Fi or something. He's obviously fighting a bear. Right. Yeah. Scott says request wasn't sent. I don't know what it came up on my thing, Scott, and then I said yes. So I think that sounds like a Wi-Fi issue. Are you close to the router? Have you got any? Maybe go on 4G, see if that works. Okay. Well, whilst requests go live, I'm trying to add you again, Scott. It's allowing me to. It says it's connecting.
Is that?
There's working.
Am I there? There we go. I'm gonna prop you there.
Okay.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Do you know I wasn't on Wi-Fi, and then it got a bit fizzy. So
Yeah.
I went back out, and then just popped the Wi-Fi on, and then came back in. It was all a bit there. So.
Well, that's why I was late, because I got out of the shower, I was doing a workout, and then I got out of the shower, and then I was like, the Wi-Fi is just not working. It's just like literally not working. So I had to turn it off, turn it back on again.
Get you doing your Sunday workout.
It does not happen every day, but it did happen today. You go running all the time, right? You make me feel bad. I see you running, and I'm like, I should be doing that. Why am I
I've
not?
only done it the last couple of days. I took 3 weeks off because I buggered up my calf.
Right.
And then I just went.
Yeah. And like,
I went.
you had
I
to
looked
be
down and went.
collected,
I'm
didn't you?
getting a little bit. Yeah, Tim had to come and collect me from the top of a Welsh hill.
Yeah,
That's him.
that's not good.
But no, exercise is evil. So I've been running in sensible
Right.
places last few days.
In case you get stuff.
In case just so I can hobble back. You have to. How are you anyway? You're looking. Actually, you look like you always do. You don't look any more haggard or fresh-faced, or you sort of, lockdown just seems to be treating you as, well, I guess it's the freelance thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
like there are, I think physically, like I'm probably the same as I was, but in terms, like mentally, I've definitely, the last week has just been, I don't know, it's just it somehow got to me, like two months of like not seeing anyone at all, and I was just like, gosh, I'm starting to go a bit crazy. But I've had a good weekend. It's been a much better weekend. So yeah, I'm all right.
I love the person who just went, stop talking Wi-Fi and get on with it.
Stop talking Wi-Fi. Get on with it. Yeah, that's actually a family member.
Oh, bless.
Mine. Which is why they're being so rude. Go away.
You've been keeping busy and sane, or
I've been keeping busy and insane. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, well, this week I've got some Torchwood to deliver. I've got some
Which ones?
I've got some alien opera to send you.
Hey, looking forward to that one.
Yeah. I'm trying to work out how crazy to go with it. Yeah,
I think pretty crazy, given the
yeah,
context of it. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's good. That is going to be fun. That is going to be fun. Now, does anyone have any questions? Is
No.
Now there's a way of actually asking questions properly that doesn't that I keep forgetting about, which is where the little question marks are. So people can do that. I will actually pick them up this time.
No.
Um,
Didn't realise you could go back through messages. There we go.
yeah, you can go back up. Yeah. Because I always get really lost, and then I always go up, and then I find stuff, and then new stuff's coming, but I just don't see it. Anyway, okay, cool. Torchwood. We've got Torchwood coming out this month, don't we? We've got the Owen story coming out.
Yeah, Iceberg, yeah.
Yeah. Was that? Wait, that was one you directed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I direct most of them.
You
There are
direct
only a
most of
few
them,
I don't.
but then suddenly I was like, oh wait, no, there was one, wasn't there? So yeah.
Barney does the Tortured One stuff, and then Lisa Bauman's doing a few as well. So,
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you're a hard man to lock down sometimes. You're spread across, many.
Don't say that at the moment. I am in constant lockdown. James has my availability at his beck and call.
Lockdown's a very triggering word right now. So
yeah. I mean, we have recorded one Torchwood in lockdown, and we're about to do another one, not this week after. So we're quite lucky actually that all our cast are quite tech adept and have nice quiet spaces they can record in. So the quality's good.
What are the differences in terms of you directing someone in lockdown? What are the difficulties that sort of come with that remote recording?
I mean, not having an engineer across everybody's voice track means you have to take a lot more time double checking recordings back as you go because you still want it to all sound good. And some actors aren't as tech adept. This is on Tortured, but we've had people forget to hit record for a scene, and I think we recorded some stuff for something else on Good Friday, and people outside were having a barbecue and whooping and cheering, so we were meant to be on the desolate, dead alien planet, and all we could hear were children screaming.
Get the police on them. Get that shut down right away.
I mean, it was just one family. We can't arrest a family for enjoying time in their garden. But
that's true, actually.
They were FaceTiming other family members who weren't there. So
it should be illegal to do it when Tortured's being recorded, though.
Yeah, but you can't enforce that. Beyond the government, mate. Beyond the government.
Send a government petition. If we get to 1,000, they'll look into it. Somebody says, Joel Taylor said, "Hey Scott, what's your favorite story that you've written?" He says his personal favorite of yours is World Apart.
Well, that's a Doctor Who one.
Which one's World Apart? I don't think.
Sylvester.
Oh, it's a Sylvester one. That's cool.
Sylvester and Sophie. Yeah, I'm gonna pluck it from my shelf of lovely things. One of those. There you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. What? Ooh. Do you know? I don't know. It's possibly an episode of Gallifrey Time War where I wrote a story called "The Devil You Know," which I loved because it's a really claustrophobic little intimate three-hander with Louise Jameson, Brian Dick, and Sir Derek Jacobi. You can't really go wrong with that. But actually, equally, I really like "Tell Me You Love Me" because class. Because again, nice intimate little three-hander. I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
That's a good one. I saw somebody gave that 5 stars on Twitter.
Oh, bless them.
Literally in the last 24 hours, somebody was going through rating all the all the class ones, and it was just like this one's perfection. That was the only one that got 5 stars so far. They're
So
watching. I think
far.
they're watching the TV series and the audios at the same time.
Oh,
So
bless them.
yeah.
But yeah, what's the favourite one you've composed for? I can't say what's the favourite one you've written. You've only done one, but
um, a favorite. I'm trying to think. There's probably a difference between the favorite, like one that I enjoyed doing music for, and then one
okay.
that,
What's the one you enjoyed as a listener, and what's the
and
one
then
you
one that I
most
enjoyed.
enjoyed, or yeah, challenged you most? I guess.
Um, One of the most challenging one, when there's a lot of music, that's always quite challenging. I
Hmm.
remember Goodbye Piccadilly being quite challenging because it was just like almost wall to wall music because it's basically an action blockbuster. So that one had a lot of
And
music in it.
period as well, so it can't.
And period, yeah, and a lot of weird music in it as well. So it was a lot of like new stuff that had to be written. So I would say that was maybe the most musically challenging.
Hmm.
Actually, do you know what? The first challenging one was the first ever one, Torture Conspiracy, because they didn't have any music at all. Because obviously we have a certain budget and a certain amount of time that we can spend on it, and we don't have a TV series budget, so we can't always use like a completely fresh written score. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it just can't happen, and you have to sort of invest extra time in certain episodes to build up the library. So I'd say the first one was the hardest because I was like, oh man, I'm starting from scratch.
And you had to
It's
redo the
also
theme.
yeah, and it was also the lowest budget that we had because we didn't know how many people were going to buy it. So we had like not very much money, and just to have to create like an entire film score from scratch on not that much. So that was probably the most challenging. But yeah, doing Rand, you got to redo the theme as well, which was a lot. And Torch, the Victorian age was quite hard work as well because there was a lot of string quartet stuff, and I had that recorded remotely in America by somebody who like sort of layers up string parts and
Oh
stuff,
wow.
and that just had a lot of and there was a new version of the theme that was string quartet as well, and that was like I don't even think James asked me to do that. I just decided that I was going to do a Victorian version of the main theme, and then I realized how much work it was afterwards. So I was like, oh well,
But
I
in
mean, it was cool.
fairness,
We
you have had opportunity to use it a few times now.
We have done, yeah. Quite often, writers will put in their script, "Oh, there's a new version of the torture theme of this particular style," and you and James, I was like, "Don't do that. Don't do that to Blair." But
Oh, I
sometimes you
don't
get
know. I
away with it.
encourage it. I love
Oh, do you?
variations on a theme.
James Moran did, I think, for his one,
Mm,
Serenity. Was it called
yeah.
Serenity? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did, and I did a new one. But I remember James being like, I'm so sorry. If you have time, please do a new torture thing. It's good fun. It's good fun. And then one of my favorites, I mean, I've said my favorites sometimes on Twitter. I always end up saying different ones. I'm trying to think. Maybe I should get the main range up and look at it. I like more than this.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a nice. Yeah.
it's very meditative, that one, and it's quite moving. I like Cascades, which of course is a Scott
Oh,
Handcock
bless you.
original.
That's bonkers.
Well, that's just it's very. I like the inventive ones, and the ones that really challenge the format. And obviously, Cascade does that quite. That's seriously bonkers. And then the most recent Tim Foley, Tropical Beach Sounds. I mean, wow, just a piece
Yeah.
of
How do you approach something like that where you've got to sort of evoke a self-help tape but also drive a drama?
I mean, I haven't listened to many self-help tapes, but I suppose there's a sort of you hear it in other shows and stuff like that, don't you? And you just sort of I went for some of the cliches, and then for a lot of it, I mean, it was like subtle tones, rather than
Hmm.
big musical pieces, because it was just there was a sense of unease that needs to be built, and then some sort of some of those sort of tropical beachy ones as well. So yeah, I'd say those are sort of up in my top three. I do like Goodbye Piccadilly as well. I think that's because that's something that I'm not. It's so like a kind of feature film, action film thing that you kind of think like, would this work on audio? If you read the script, you go like,
Hmm.
would this work? Like, and then you
As a
listen to it, and
director,
you're like,
I often read the scripts and go, James, what are you doing? How are we going to communicate any of this?
yeah. But he always you know, the combination of him being adventurous and you realizing it is just, you always manage to make it work. The Hope is another one, a James Goss original that
Oh,
I mean, it's like sort of Broadchurch meets Doctor Who.
and
Kind
Dame
of.
Sian Phillips just right in the middle of it, being
Yeah,
spectacular. And
yeah,
I love James actually because he, whenever I give him script notes, he'll always do the thing of going, "Well, you're wrong," and he'll instinctively kick back and then send me an email going, "Well, as you can see, I objected to all your notes and then realised they were right, so I've done them and it's all brilliant." But
bless him. That's awesome. I was when you gave me notes, obviously on Queen of Rhodium, we went through a few sort of stages of it, and I think I was always like, yeah, yeah. I don't think I ever kicked back. Sometimes I'd say like, oh, I really like that scene, the dialogue,
mm,
but I understand why you want me to cut it because it doesn't really move the story forward, or it takes us down like a tangent that just we don't have time to go down.
it's really tough because I do that all the time where you write something and go, "Oh, that's really lovely," and I've now reached a point where I look at even my own stuff and go, "Do we need it?" And you sort of go, "Okay, no, you park it, and keep it for something else." But it's hard to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. It is, but that was very educational. Sort of going through that process with you. It's weird. You look back on it and it feels like a lot easier than it was because it
Mm.
exists now. Whereas at the start of it, it's it's a real bollock to try. It's like a puzzle that has, you know, an infinite amount of permutations.
I'm
You have
trying
to
to think
find the
how
best.
long ago we even started talking about it.
I think we talked about it. I think we were talking almost for like a year or something. I
It
think we
was, I mean,
started
it was
talking.
longer than that because I mean, it might even have been when we were recording the first volumes because I remember we sat in a coffee shop
Yeah, that's
opposite Ladbroke Grove and you said, "Do you know what? I'd quite fancy maybe giving one of these a go."
yeah, yeah. I remember you and James looking at each other, being like, "Oh shit, is it going to be a torture or is it going to be a class? Like, who's going to have to deal with this guy?" but then there was like a time, like maybe like a few months after that, before I then went, no, no, I was serious. Like, come on, okay. And then I
Hmm.
started. You said pitch me some ideas for the class box sets for season 3 and season 4. Well, volumes 3 and volumes 4.
Yeah.
And I pitched you 2 ideas, and you
The
said
other
you
one
would
was
like
Armitage and Ames, wasn't it?
Armitage and Ames, one of them, which was a prequel featuring Mr. Armitage and Dorothea Ames, which we won't say anymore um, about really. But it was that was we I think we both quite liked that. But I mean, they didn't end up being in the box sets, and I remember there was some discussion about various logistical stuff. In the end, it just seemed easier to go for Queen of Rhodia, which
Hmm.
I'm glad we did actually. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, it feels like a
Um,
nice finale to, yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Um, Somebody else said, give John Barrowman some more work so he'll stop filming bloody TikToks. I mean, I don't think that's going to stop him filming TikToks, is it?
We have actually sent him a microphone. It's bizarre. John does so much, he does all his albums and everything like that. He doesn't actually have a microphone in his house, which, a lot of actors do for voice stuff, everything like that. So he always goes down the road to a little studio, which obviously isn't, um, he's self-isolating at the moment, so it's not an option. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think James Goss arranged for a microphone to be sent to his house with no explanation. So I think he just
You
had a
haven't told
microphone
him.
arrive.
You
I
haven't.
think James told John's agent.
Okay.
So yeah, at some point he will hopefully be um, able to record. So
It, I think it'll be absolutely fine. His Instagram lives are very professional. He has like one of those ring lights. He took a picture once of like his little setup, and he has like a ring light, which is like giving him like studio
hmm.
lighting. I actually have a panel here which is for like in the winter, like stopping you getting seasonal affective disorder.
Oh
If you
well,
if I turn it on, that's like whoa, it's almost
don't
like
know.
daylight.
All I have is a little light up Moomin,
That's not going to do
but
much.
no, it doesn't. No, but
That's not going to
that's
do
it.
much. But yeah, it's almost like when you've got this on, it's almost like daylight. It does actually work. If anyone suffers during the winter months from seasonal affective disorder, lob that on for a couple of hours in the morning. Although, I mean, it's quite easy working from home, be able to do that. It's not exactly, you couldn't take it into the office. I suppose you could, you just leave it there.
think a lot of studio engineers would hate me if I just rocked up with a
Yeah.
sad lamp and went, "Here we go."
Oh dear, oh dear. Somebody said, Blair, which character did you enjoy writing a different interpretation for? Without going into any spoilers for people, I'm going to turn this off. It's too great. Who haven't listened to Queen of Rodeo, which is a class audio that I wrote a script for. I Charlie, yeah, because Greg, we did something with Greg where we made him
Greg.
somewhat of a we just made Greg. We made him somewhat of an action hero, and there's some nice jokes about his muscles and stuff in it. So that was probably the most fun. I didn't expect him to lean in just as heavily as he did. I loved how much he leaned into it. I just really like his whole voice changed and everything. It was great.
You sort of need to differentiate. Yeah, it was a weird one, those last couple of sets. And we had the recasts as well we had to do, which we weren't expecting. Which I know you were a little bit, having written an entire script with the
two that ran
Catherine. Yeah, actually, it did focus on Catherine and Vivian, or Quill and Tanya. And then, yeah. Did that catch you off guard? I mean, it caught me off guard from a production point of view. But
it did catch me off guard because when I heard their voices in my head when I was writing it, and so realizing that just the intonation and flow and stuff of those actors was going to be different, it made me panic a little bit. Well, I think when everybody first heard about it, they were like, "Oh, that's a real shame," and it was a shame, obviously not to be able to work with original cast members. But then I was pleasantly surprised when you started sending me little examples of clips and stuff of what they were sounding like, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay." And especially with Tanya's character, it just she did really manage to sort of capture that on first listening, and then with Dervla doing Quill, it took me an episode to sort of get used to it. But then after that, I was fully on board.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with how those two sets came together.
Absolutely, yeah, and it wasn't easy, was it? There was a lot we had to go through. You had to go through quite a lot of jumping through hoops and difficulties coming up at the last minute. It never is easy, but I think that was a particularly stressful one. It felt a bit cursed, really, and so it's nice when they come out, really well.
Yeah. It was a relief.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody's asked about a Torchwood musical anytime soon. I think about it on a regular basis, and the mammoth task of how to do it. We do talk about it. I think we will do it. I just don't know when. But I want to do it.
I mean, to do it properly, you'd need. I couldn't direct the musical stuff.
Yeah, no,
because I've done a few things with songs, and it just eats up so much studio time in a day.
I'd have to do that.
We'd sort of need two studios at the Soundhouse running concurrently. So I'm in one with the actors doing. The dramatic side, and then when they're off for scenes, they can just go and do a few musical numbers, and the others can come in. And
my pitch to James was just to have them come around to mine and do them at my. I mean, I've moved flats recently, so I need to get this more set up as a studio because I was literally moving during the pandemic at the very start, so everything is not set up in the way that it should be in terms of the sound panels and stuff. But once that's all done, they just come around to mine, and then we don't have to hire studio time for the singing stuff. And John, I could do in Los Angeles because I'll be spending time back and forth between Los Angeles and London. I'll get him down from Palm Springs, and he just come right to the house.
I mean, we have always joked that we would make sure Jack was the one character who does not sing.
No, you have that joke, which I think is very funny.
And John does not enjoy it.
No, yeah, I can imagine he doesn't. No, there are some. We will try and do a Torture musical. It might take 2 or 3 years, but there is a plan. It's impossible. Yeah, I know.
I don't know anything about this. James, no, I think.
James and I are going to co-write it together.
That makes sense, but
yeah. We're going to co-write the script and the songs and the lyrics and everything, and then I'll do the musical side of stuff. But we just don't have the budget, so it almost needs to be like a labor of love, where I'll work on a song here or there in between stuff, almost in downtime.
Mm.
Or somebody suggested doing a Kickstarter where people pre-order the musical. I don't know how Big Finish would feel about that, but people pre-order the musical and then you amass more money than you normally would to go, okay, we can do this because we've got more than usual. But I think that's logistically dangerous and tricky. I suppose we could just
I
set it
can't.
up and then if it reaches a certain point, we'll do it. And if it takes 2 years or
I
three
think it's
years,
tough because then you're basically, yeah, because none of us are Big Finish staff. So I don't think we could speak on their behalf to do it, and we don't have the
no.
rights
You need to get all
to.
the paperwork in
Yeah,
place. You need to get all the paperwork in place beforehand. I don't think it would work. And
there'll
let
be
me.
a way. There'll be a way.
We will do it. We will do it. Hopefully, at some point. Eve cannot sing. You would have to recast. That's not true. She can sing, can't she?
Yeah, I'm sure she can sing. She's Welsh.
I'm very good with electronic tuning anyway, so I can make her sing.
But Byrne does, or you do what they did with, um, was it, was it, was it Amber Benson in the Buffy um, musical? There was one of them. It was either Amber Benson or Alison Hannigan who just, I think, had one line of singing
Really?
in the climax of the musical Buffy episode because they couldn't sing.
Oh, I need to rewatch that because obviously that is a blueprint that one could follow
Yeah.
if you were going to do it. I I actually have vague ideas for two Torchwood musicals in very different
Let's do a
styles.
box set.
Yeah, we need to work. We need to work out. We need once I work out how much work it exactly is, then we can sort of discuss whether you could do a box set or you could do one like 1 year and then one 18 months later as a sort of sequel. We'll see. We'll see. And now there is a thing with had questions here, which I never clicked. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to click this
Ooh.
and see. Okay, I've got four. I'm going to choose. This is a good one from James Jarvis, composer. He said, "Which Torchwood Big Finish would you most like to see translated onto screen?"
For you or me?
For both of us, I think we both whoever thinks of an answer. Oh, Scott's on it.
I'm
straight
looking at my
away.
shelf. I'm looking at my shelf, reminding me of all the ones we've done. We've done a shed load, haven't we?
Yeah. What about Outbreak? Would have been good on screen as like a little mini series.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see the Among Us stuff done. I'd just
Oh
love
yeah,
to see that all those new characters and Mr. Colchester and Tyler and Orr and Eng and
yeah.
I mean, I love those actors. Partly because I cast them all, but they just work so well. And again, it's lovely to see people embrace them. And you sort of go, actually, they'd be great on screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like to see the Among Us stuff.
Night of the Fendal. I'm just looking at them now.
We could. Did James ever give you the director's cut?
I was working on it, and then I had to be recut because
Yeah.
of the cuts. So because I saw somebody, I can't remember what it was, for one of the reviews at the time saying like this is like so mature, it's like so riskily mature, and I was like, dude, you have no idea all the stuff that was cut out.
Yeah, that's my James burned me a copy of the original edit, and I remember it was literally as we were delivering the masters.
Yeah.
We had people come back, and we'd done all the usual approvals thing of sending in the storylines and the scripts and everything like that. And Eve had loved the script in studio, and how it was a flip on toxic masculinity, and yes, there were people who got treated women awfully, but actually it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Eve, I remember
a fetishization of that.
No.
It was a criticism of that kind of behavior and a kind of revenge.
Yeah.
Sort of thriller.
And
female
I remember
orientated revenge thriller.
Eve saying, particularly in light of the Me Too movement, which was very recent at that point, she said it was actually a really important story to tell, and she loved the fact that sci-fi can, allow you to explore those ideas.
Yeah. yeah, that was a tricky one. Save it for the convention circuit, and once everybody that stopped it is dead, when you're 70s and 80s, we can have a live listen along. Gallifrey one number like
Let's do it as a
1925.
Twitter tweet along.
No,
I mean, actually, the cuts were relatively minor.
yeah, they were actually.
They were
There
just
was one scene in particular which I remember. I was very sad because I'd spent quite a lot of time with the music, so Dudley Simpson-esque music, Tom Baker era music for that particular point, and it had to be cut. So yeah, that was. So I would like to see those. There are loads there. There are loads. I'm going to go back into questions and see what else.
So you're the one making the questions pop up in big.
I am. Yeah. This is
okay.
Okay, here's one. It's from
Ooh.
What's your personal fave Big Finish Torchwood story as a fan point of view? Well, we sort of covered that earlier on in the conversation, didn't we? But if I had to pick another one, I'm just looking through. Death of Captain Jack, I think, is great.
Oh, that's a good one for fans, isn't it?
Really good one for fans. Broken, a lot of Yanto and Jack in that one. If you're a fan of Yanto and Jack,
I mean, I personally like Cascade because of how it ties into the final episode of series 2.
Oh yeah. And you wrote it, so you would say that.
Yeah, I just want the royalties.
Yeah.
Only got royalties.
I've still never seen any royalties from Big Finish, so
It's because people pirate stuff, which is why I wrote Cascade.
Well, that's the thing that I enjoyed about Cascade, obviously, because it's like a commentary on piracy, which is quite meta. I do like a bit of meta, as you probably realised when I started writing stuff for you. Okay, here's one from Ted Ryan who says, "Would you guys ever want to collaborate on a Big Finish production outside the norm of what you do usually?" I presume it's got US ...
Yeah, I mean, we've done not just Tortured. We've done Doctor Who. We did Nightshade.
Yeah, the only Doctor Who I've ever worked on for Big
And
Finish.
you did the theme for the David Warner.
I did the Unbound series. Yeah, I couldn't resist James Goss telling me to do a sort of parallel universe 60s Doctor Who theme, so I did. I did that. And then we've done Class, done Torchwood, Adventures of Captain Jack. But outside of Big Finish, yeah, I mean, obviously, Scott's a very talented director, and he'll get snapped up to do other things in the future. And I would always love to work with you, man. But it's
when I'm snapped up.
When you're snapped up. When you're snapped.
I mean, I've been waiting 7 years, but no, it's quite. It's that slightly dangerous thing with Big Finish in that you can become quite comfortable. But the nice thing about being freelance, I'm sure you find this, is Big Finish is almost like your home you go back to, but you can still have nights out with other companies where you do other little projects here and there. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I do have I'm not going to do Big Finish forever. There is in my head, I don't think any of us, necessarily will. There is a potential exit strategy, sort of in your head of going, at some point when you're doing something, you're not doing something else, or you're not trying to find something else to do. And so I guess at some point, that you just do need to shift. I don't know when that is, for me, but I know that, one day it probably, sort of should happen. But there are things that I want to do before that happens, like a Torchwood musical. So once I've done a Torchwood musical, and also probably do a Torchwood soundtrack release one day, in terms of some of the music that we've obviously done for the different episodes, then it feels more like that's a threshold where, okay, we might be coming out of an era. And obviously, when you and James,
we're so easily interchangeable.
You're really not. And when you move on, if you move on to do whatever, I would find it very difficult not to be working with the two of you, because everything I do is either with you or James.
Yeah,
I don't, and I'm not really. I'm not really interested in working with anyone else.
That's
um,
very nice.
because why would I
And
do
you
that?
know, it's an easy. It's sort of there's a shorthand now, and we sort of know what everyone does. But I do occasionally say to James, "Oh, have we, you know, because we plan so far ahead." I do sort of go, "God, in a year or two, should we knock Torchwood on the head for us, not for Big Finish, but just sort of,
Yeah.
you know, because you worry about sometimes just it becoming a bit not run of the mill, but you sort of go, oh, are we stagnating a bit? I mean, I don't think we do because we're still doing stuff like tropical beach sounds and just,
Well, yeah, that's the
if
thing that
anything, the more we do makes us go, how do we keep this, you know,
well, that's what I love
rhythm?
about it because it's still fresh and there's still new ideas coming through and there's still very different voices coming through and very different styles and tones. And I think when that stops happening, which hopefully it won't, but if it did start happening, we'd all go, okay, right, it's time to maybe
Mm,
bow out. But at the moment, I'm still having a great time. It's fun. It's fun.
yes.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What other questions have we got here? Da, da, da. Okay, this is slightly more niche, perhaps. But Scott, what was it like taking over for the Prisoner Volume 3 and bringing that to an end? The Prisoner.
I didn't really take over. Um, Nick Briggs was the sort of creative mastermind. I produced volume two for Nick because he was too busy, but he still did all the the creative stuff and everything like that. And even volume three, he had the storylines and the script editor.
Yeah.
So I script edited it, but when you script edit Nick, you know, um, particularly with someone like the prisoner, he basically goes, no, I know this better than you do, so I'll ignore those notes, thank you. I mean, he does take some on board, and all that. But yeah, it was fairly straightforward, really. It was just facilitating Nick's vision, and actually for the third volume, I think I didn't produce it. I think Emma Haig did. But
Oh.
yeah, so I sort
So
of
you
flirted with the prisoner, but I was very
so
a
you were
very small part of behind the scenes.
you were directing or you were script editing or
I was just the producer because
oh,
Nick
okay.
wanted to direct, so it was just
Huh.
making sure he had a lot, what he needed. But I find it very difficult to produce things I'm not directing
Yeah.
because um, I've got quite a forensic take on things.
Hmm.
James always says, when I give notes on edits and things, I'm quite clear cut about stuff and just bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
And when I'm producing, it frustrates me if, well, when you're directing and stuff, you know what needs to be done and when and everything like that. But when you have to wait for other people who maybe don't communicate as well, I mean that's less of a problem on the prisoner, but there are occasional other things where you just go, oh, I wish I was doing all of this, which makes me sound like a control freak, which I possibly am. Um,
I think that's totally fair enough. I can completely understand that. Somebody's asked a cheeky question. Hints on Red Basin and Ex Machina, which are two Torchwood stories. Apparently, the titles have gone up. That's the first time I've ever heard those titles, so I can give no hints because I don't know anything about them.
um, Red Base, I know nothing about because I think Lisa Bauman's directed it. Um,
Yeah.
that happened before lockdown. Ex Machina is one we recorded maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, so
Um,
that's one in lockdown.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't really say anything about that. I can't even say who wrote it because,
It's not
um,
been released.
yeah, I get told off. Um, but yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I'm
that's
trying to be helpful and answer the
it's a cheeky
questions. That
question. Listen, it's a cheeky question. I sympathise. I sympathise with you because it is a bit cheeky. Oh, hold on. If okay, if you both swapped roles, what would you expect to be the most difficult part?
I have zero rhythm or coordination. I struggled to learn the recorder when I was a
Yeah,
kid. Well,
Yeah,
weirdly, I did try to learn the fife because a friend of mine started learning to play the fife, and I thought it'd be a really cool thing to do in the way you do when you're about 7 or 8. Go, yeah, I'm going to
yeah.
learn that, and I was just terrible. I just can't. I, I think people visualize things in different ways. You know, some people can really get on board with numbers and very much words. I don't quite know how music fits into that. I don't know whether it's more in sort of almost numeric visualization thing, but I just can't do it. So I can't dance. I have no rhythm whatsoever. I could not. It's that funny thing when I give music notes. I could not use any of the technical terms, but I think I talk about stuff
That's
more
fine because
emotionally.
yeah, I much prefer speaking in terms of narrative and emotions. I
Hmm.
think the most difficult thing for me when you were script editing and you were talking about putting in certain like pants or like hits or stuff like in the script to make sure that the actors do that in the studio.
Hmm.
Were I to if I was directing something, like I feel like I would need like a Scott Hancock masterclass in things like that I wouldn't necessarily think of, and suddenly we'd be in the edit, and I'd be like, "Oh, like she was really out of breath here, and I never got her like running." I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't do that; it seems quite obvious, but there must be more subtle things where you're like, "Oh, like can we?" Then you have to cheat it in Foley, I guess, by recreating it rather
You'd be
than
amazed though how many writers just forget that people should be reacting to stuff and
yeah,
need to interact with the soundscape, which of course isn't there when you record.
yeah,
Um, and you know, even sometimes as a director, I'm thinking, okay, when we get to this bit, I'm going to want a big swell of music. So
yeah.
you're even directing the performance to sort of interact with that. So you know, you want people to pitch up even more to be heard over the music because you don't
Yeah,
want any
yeah,
any part of production to feel compromised. It's intricate, but yeah.
yeah. I think I only wrote a couple of times in my script. I actually wrote like the music swells here or whatever because I was like
Mm.
because I know I could do that. That was fun. But I mean, writers can do that. That's fine. I'm going to look at some other question. Um, so outside of okay, here's one. Outside of your own writing, so Queen of Rodeo, the episode of class I wrote, what class audio stands out for you? Obviously, you can answer that as well, Scott, because you wrote one of them in the first two box sets. I mean, In Remembrance is an obvious one because it's a fan pleaser, isn't it? You've got Daleks, you've got Sophie Aldred back as Ace in the
Yeah.
modern day. Guy Adams wrote it. He's a very talented, very funny writer. And there's some Keff McCulloch esque Sylvester McCoy music in the '60s.
Mm.
But I mean, that's a great one for me.
I mean, I quite like a lot of the recent stuff. I think Queen of Rodeo is a really lovely. It stands out because it's so off the wall bonkers.
Oh,
Um, I also really like Sweet Nothings because
so do I.
um, it's quite nice to have a more overtly comic episode.
Yeah,
Um, because it's that thing you get the sense that if Class had had a second series, they couldn't have just done the really intense angst all the time. They would have gone, okay, we can have a bit more fun now because we know what the actors can do.
yeah,
Because that's kind of what I discovered doing the first couple of volumes was going, God, these guys are versatile and you know you can throw anything at them. So let's mix it up a bit. It doesn't all have to be really sort of oh, being a teenager stuff. Um, and actually, Creeper's the episode I'd love to have seen on screen because it just feels like it could have been a Halloween special,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you can sort of visualize it um, quite easily because we've all seen those sort of horror films and
yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
I agree. It was a fun one that. Now, Scott, before I forget, I've got a quiz. I've got a visual quiz for you.
Oh God.
It's a picture. It's only three questions. I just wanted to do it as an experiment. Um, I've assembled moments or characters or whatever out of Doctor Who to create the name of a Hollywood film, and you have to guess what the Hollywood film
Christ.
is. The first one, is really easy. Now I'm gonna have to switch. I'm gonna have to switch the camera around, I think. So
If I get this wrong, this is going to be a really long-winded game.
I don't think you'll get. I don't think you'll get the first one wrong. Okay, right. Here's the first one.
Titanic? No, it's Cats, isn't it?
It is Cats. Well done. Okay. This is not the most.
I love that you've done this. Lockdown is really getting to you, isn't it?
It really is. Like I had to create something really like quickly that wasn't music for my sanity. Okay, you ready for number two? Here's number two. Oh, I've got to come out for this one.
Oh Lord.
This one's a little bit harder, but you've got to think what are they?
I mean, I want to say the beach or
no. You've got to think of it as something. What are these? What are these? What are these things?
Beaches, map.
What is
sea? Well, Ocean's 11.
a sea? Ocean's 11. Yes.
There we go.
Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11. See, it does once you get there, it makes sense. Okay, and here's the third one. This is a classic. This is a classic old film.
When Harry Met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally.
Bless you. That was an easy one. Oh, I'm buffering now.
That was quite an easy one.
Where's that? Because you're.
It's what?
You had a wonderful sped up journey there as you flip your camera around. Oop.
Oh, the Wi-Fi is going a bit there. I don't know whether it's me or whether it's you, but the Wi-Fi went out.
Just waiting to sync up. Am I in sync? Are you? There's just a lovely little.
I can hear you now.
Benny Hill style thing there.
But I can hear you. All right, there you go. That was three. So if I did more difficult ones, I could maybe Instagram live you again, but with like 20.
Oh, there we go. It seems to be a bit more fluid now.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so I might do that. I might do a quiz. It's Russell. Russell's just joined.
Has he? Oh, God.
He has. Yeah. Hello, Russell T.
Bless him.
Big way. Well, RCD's in the building.
I can't think of anything exciting to tell him.
Oh well, Russell's just joined. Should we do the quiz for him? And he has to answer, and nobody give him the answers, and he has to type the answers for the quiz that we just did. And then he has to guess. Right, Russell, you have to guess. You have to guess what the Hollywood film is from the Doctor Who picture. Okay, I've assembled some Doctor Who characters. You have to guess what the film. This is nobody give me the answer.
I've just seen. What the hell is this?
This is a classic film. Okay. So Russell T, what Hollywood film would that be? Think of the characters. Think of them meeting. Classic film. Nora Ephron.
Which one?
Russell says you were drunk. When Harry Met Sally. There you go. There you go. That's brilliant. Russell nailed it. Okay, right. Russell, ready? This is number. This is the easiest one, I think. Which one? Hollywood film. What would that be? There's many of them. Recent film, massive flop. It's not. It's very obvious what it is.
I love him. Russell's just left, and we're waiting for ages.
He might have. His connection might have dropped out. Cat and the Cheetah.
Oh, that went straight to video, didn't it?
that was obviously too easy for Russell because now he's taking the piss. Okay, right, Russell. Nobody got the answer. This one's slightly harder. Please do Along Came Polly. I can do that. I can do that. So they're not C's. Well, they are C's. They're another name for C's. And then
You never gave me this much help.
I know, but everybody else knows the answer, so I'm allowing him to come to the answer quicker.
Just because he might be able to employ you one day, you give him all the hints.
Beaches. No. If I put an apostrophe S here, okay, what number?
You are such a sycophant.
What number of doctors? What number of doctors? This a big Hollywood film. Bit of a heist movie.
Why don't you just tell him?
No, he's got it.
You pretty much.
How is it not Beaches? I mean, Beaches. No, but it's not Beaches because of this. Because of this. If it was just this, then it'd be.
I mean,
Beaches.
looking at the photos, it is more beach than ocean.
That is true. Ocean's 13. Ocean's 11.
I think he's including Peter Cushing and John Hurt in that number.
He is. He's taking the Mickey. He's taking the Mickey.
And apparently, I'm getting a bit salty now.
You get a bit salty. You worked them out with very little help.
Oh, I can see an Amazon driver outside the window who I think is delivering my season 14 Blu-ray.
Oh really? Well, you can't.
If you are. No, Tim had better answer the door, or I'll get properly salty. That sounded wrong.
Somebody said, with the Timeless Child. Now it's Ocean 713.
Oh,
I mean, that's fair enough.
Oh, he's driven away with his boot open. Sorry.
That's all right.
Scott,
you're very blurry. You're very blurry. You're very pixelated.
Oh. Sorry, I'm just very excited to be here.
Can you? Okay, yeah. You're very blurry, but you are in sync, so that's okay. Let me see if we have any other questions that have come through now that we've done the quiz. Somebody says, "Do you have any advice on being edited? Taking advice can be a challenge."
I would think no one wants a thing to be crap.
Scott's gone super blurry.
So, shall I just go and come back? I shall disappear and come back.
Okay, disappear and come back. Okay, Scott's gone. He's going to come back, and hopefully he's going to be less blurry. Maybe he's going to start his. Do I have any advice on being edited? He's coming back in. View go live with Scott Handcock. So having written my first audio episodes that Scott was editing, I would say just take you're less blurry, yeah. I was just giving the advice of just actually taking the notes and not like fighting them too much, and like at least try them. Russell says that's better, 100% Blair. Oh, yeah. Are you back now? It's not ideal. It's not ideal. This is it.
What am I meant to do?
I don't think I'm meant to do anything. I think we're just seeing if it's. Am I in sync with you? Can you hear me?
I think sync is now
this is not good.
A problem.
Yeah, I think it is.
I'll just stand here looking pretty.
We've got one more question. I almost forgot. You're both in the bells of St. John. So yes, we are. I'm right on the corner somewhere. You're more visible, aren't you? In the bells of St. John.
I'm in quite full focus. Yeah.
I got very excited about that because I thought I was going to be quite noticeable on screen, and then I remember watching it, and it was actually my friend John Phillips, who was the script editor for season 7, who got me to send in the video for it to be included, and it is not very obvious at all. So I'm just sort of the corner of me is somewhere which is not ideal.
I've also technically been the Doctor on screen because I had to double for Matt Smith in Seriousness 6 when he was off somewhere. And I've been a
Did you?
Nazi. Yeah. I was a Nazi in Let's Go
How was
Hitler.
it?
And yeah.
If somebody's recording this, they could take that out of context and get you in quite a lot of trouble. Scott Handcock says he was a Nazi. No
I remember
longer Nazi.
the
Was a
costume.
Nazi.
Yeah, the costume people said, "Oh, do you know what? That really suits you." And you go, "Lovely." You know, struggle to find stuff on the high street, but it's Hugo Boss, isn't it?
You could have a long-standing career in World War II films. Just go, on the side.
I've clearly missed my calling.
Somebody says, thanks. This is making my day. I think Mark was here as well earlier. There was a Mark Gatiss, but I don't know whether it was Mark or a fake Mark.
I don't think he's on Instagram, is he?
He is actually. It's just not many people. Yeah, it's just nobody knows who he is, but he is. It's mainly his art, his painting, because he's an amazing painter.
I thought I followed that account, and then I thought he went. I thought he took that.
Oh, off. Maybe he did. Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe too many people realised. Have you seen the? He did a picture of Michael Dennis. He did a painting of Michael Dennis, who wrote. For people who don't know, he wrote Sweet Nothings. Have you seen that? It's amazing. I'm trying to see if I can find it. I'm trying to see if I can find it on my messages, and then I can show you here.
I have nothing interesting to show people.
This is not the most riveting content. I
can show you the straw I give John Barrowman to drink his coffee out of when we're in studio in Cardiff. That's his special coffee straw.
Do it.
He loves.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm saving it for eBay.
Oh my word!
I keep it next to my little Captain Jack pop.
That is very special. No, I can't find the picture. Oh. It's on Twitter. He put it on Twitter anyway.
Sorry, just seeing Russell's comment.
What did he say? Not the best OnlyFans I've ever seen. Russell, the best stuff you got to get behind the paywall. You got to pay for the best content. This is just to suck you in. The Scott and Blair OnlyFans coming to you soon. That is quite expensive.
Can I pay for it not to happen?
I think. Well, it depends what Russell pays. Because if Russell pays more than you pay, Russell says not the worst either. Would it be better if we took our shirts off? Okay, that's going to cost money. That's going to cost money. Somebody said.
Well, I know what messages you're getting when this is over.
Oh dear. Russell says yes. Belgian Girl says it's the best live so far. To be honest, somebody
really has reduced people's expectations, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Somebody asked how likely there is to be a class continuation with Big Finish. That's not very likely at the moment, right?
I think we fulfilled the license, and I don't think I don't know where it's. I don't get involved in that stuff, so I think it would need conversations with BBC Studios and Patrick, and there are just a lot of big personalities to wrangle. Yeah. I think before we even got back to Big Finish, so I think we're done until people went, do you want to do more? But I think that would take a while.
I think that's very fair. So we'll just wait and see what happens. I've
just seen someone suggest we fund the Tortured musical
by setting up an OnlyFans for Russell. I mean, if you want to see a Tortured musical, then let us know if you want to subsidise it, because we'd love to do it. But it'd be very expensive.
I think Russell would sooner get the OnlyFans.
I think he would. Maybe the Tortured musical could be a perk of the OnlyFans. Now,
I just look forward to the thanks to credits in the CD.
yeah, yeah,
Thanks to
yeah.
OnlyFans.
Very, very big thanks. Now we're coming up to the end of our time as an hour because it's about to run out. I think literally any minute. So I think it's time to say goodbye. So
Oh.
yeah, I know it's very, very, very sad. But we'll try and do we'll try and do another one at some point. We're doing the class watch